Hi, everyone. It's Jill. I hope you're doing well. Haven't done a video in a while, so thought I would get this out there. My first question actually comes from Andrea Rogers-Berry, for those of you who are unaware of who she is, which most of you know her. You know, it says a lot when my facial recognition doesn't recognize me midday. Okay, ready? Who is more critical to the running of a high quality charter school? A strong leader or a strong board? Really depends on the school, which is super hard to say. Okay. During the application process, I would tell you the majority of the time we're working with the person who's going to lead the school. And the stronger they are in the application process, normally the better it goes, the whole process. And when they are interviewed by the authorizer, they do well. And there's this sense of, this person can pull everybody together, manage the board. But then the school opens, and because the strong leader has been so strong and owned so much, the board doesn't step up. And so a lot of the pre-opening work falls on that strong leader or founder. And what inevitably happens is something collapses. Normally it's the leader who becomes angry at the board for not doing what they believe is their job without owning that they were trying to own the board's job. Make sense? If you work with me, it absolutely makes sense. And then on the other hand, sometimes you have a board that is strong and they recognize they need a new leader, and maybe not for any reason other than the current leader is stuck in this mindset of where we are is fine. And this board is really looking towards the future. And so the unpopular answer is it depends on the leader and it depends on the board. Common sense, obviously, for me. But I would say the stronger the leader is, and that leader is not gossipy or always complaining, and that, unfortunately does happen, or complaining about the board more specifically, the better the school will be. And then I think schools find their rhythm. The strong leader will take the benchmarks, the renewal benchmarks for either authorizer in New York State, but for whatever state you're in, take the benchmarks and work backwards and really show the board what they need to know. I'm going to not even lie to you. I lean more towards a strong leader. The ice cream truck is outside. Dang! Ice cream. Okay. So my next thing that I have to read, let's say, I preface this by saying I agree with you 99.9% of the time. Can you talk through how you feel about the Success Network because you call them out a lot? By the way, I appreciate your candor and would like to be inside your brain for a day. Why would you want to be inside my brain? I literally heard bells and knew it was an ice cream truck. You should probably not want to be in my brain at all. But no, I really want ice cream. Okay. You preface this by saying you agree with me 99.9% of the time. I'd like to know at least that small percentage of time where you don't agree with me. Can you talk through how you feel about the Success Network? Listen, I believe every charter school has the right to exist, with the exception of Enterprise. Shut them down. The reason, well, I'm not calling Success out. I'm calling out SUNY for allowing the Success Network to sit on 5 charters and to merge a number of their charters, creating ghost schools. And they're not the only CMO. But because Success gets all these special privileges from SUNY, and I want you to know what's at play here. It's not simply It's not simply they just favor them, which they may or may not. It feels like they do, in my opinion. But it really comes down to power and politics, and success has that. And they use it to their advantage. And on one hand, I'm like, good for them to leverage that type of power. And on the other hand, I stop and say, do they fully understand how this affects the entire movement? And if they do, and they continue with power and politics, what does that say about the charter school movement? We should probably be worried about that. But if no one tells them how they affect the movement as a whole, shame on us. So here's what I'll say. I believe that charter schools should exist. Am I a choice for choice sake? No, I think there has to be accountability measures, but your accountability plans and accountability measures should be based on what you say you're going to do in your charter application, and not some random crap authorizers thought of, especially authorizers who have spent so little time leading schools or even writing applications. It's hysterical. I was working with a group, and they actually asked a question about some people at one of the authorizers' office and said, can you tell me what their combined experiences leading a school and replicating a school? Right, I have access to the same bio as you do. So the answer is the school leader had about 20 years on everyone else. All right. I'm calling out SUNY. I call out the Committee on Charter School. When we have a high-performing network and we don't say what it is as a truth, which is it is a school that is not for every student. That's what choice in education is. You should be able to say, you know what? I don't like this no excuses model. I'm going to pull my child and go to this school. However, those aren't the stories, the majority of stories you hear. Parents may pull them and they're encouraged to pull them, but do parents feel like they're being forced out? And from what you can read, that answer is yes. How is that weighted in an authorizer's office? I don't know if any of you remember, a few years ago, there was the first graduating class at Success, and I don't know, it was like 17 or 19 kids. And somebody asked what happened to all the kids. I think the starting class was either 50 or 75. And even we asked the question, when is it not okay to keep pushing kids out of your school? Now, that's the model. That is the no excuses model. I wouldn't send my kids to it. I know a lot of people who wouldn't send their kids to it. But then I know some parents who absolutely 1 zillion% would be on a wait list forever to get into it. There are some things that not every charter school pays attention to. We do bring it to people's attention. We have been asked to stop. What does it get us? What would it take to get us to stop? And here's the answer. Stop policies that are inconsistent. And I say that knowing one group of people has all the politics, has all the money, has all the power. Very easy for me to sit here and say that to you. The reality is other schools don't have that and are treated much differently. And so why don't we just all call it what it is? SUNY allows certain behaviors because schools have more power in politics, money. I can't change that. I can only hope that SUNY understands and that network understands how it affects every other charter school in the state. And the hypocrisy of people not calling it out, knowing that a network has been sitting on charters, and it's not just that one, it's also the Excel. And I can't even blame, Explore. We can't even blame them. SUNY took those charters years ago and did nothing with them. So let's think of it in this context. Let's pretend I don't use network names. And I say to you, there are 8 schools that have been holding, or 8 education corporations that have been holding charters, in one case for 12 years, more than 12 years, and in another case for over a decade. And we start thinking about how many thousands of children were not given a seat in a charter school because there's no mechanism in place to ensure these charter schools are opening in a timely manner. And it's ridiculous that the Committee on Charter Schools will, like, with a straight face, vote to extend them another 2 years. We're not kidding. The next time is it. It's ridiculous. It looks ridiculous to the entire charter school world. I'm just the person willing to say it out loud. If I had $1 for every time somebody has called and said, we are watching SUNY give preferential treatment to Success, what can we do about it? I wouldn't have to work. I'd still do these videos just to tick everyone off, but I wouldn't have to work. That's how many times. How many thousands of children were denied a seat? And all you hypocrites who get on screen yelling to raise a cap, bull crap on you. Bull crap. If you gave a crap about kids getting a charter school seat, you would force the hands of politicians and SUNY and open those schools, give them to other people. So when you say, well, when they open, they'll be the best schools ever. Right, for some kids, not all kids, for some kids. But you are a hypocrite if you are sitting there listening to it and not demanding these schools be open. Hypocrite. Hypocrite. Okay. If you couldn't tell, I think you're a hypocrite. And the fact that we're not hearing, the fact that we are not hearing from anyone about ensuring those schools open, I mean, please, like, literally, please. Explore, too. Over 12 years. 12 years ago. Let's Google some stuff. What interesting stuff happened 12 years ago? Ready? Oh, I spelled that wrong. Don't ask. I probably need to look at my keys. Barack Obama was in office. Let's see. I know there's like a pause. Hypocrites. Okay, what happened 12 years ago? Let's just look in 10 years. Affordable Health Care Act, Occupy Wall Street, Syrian Civil War, Boston Marathon bombings, Supreme Court affirms same-sex marriages, and we are sitting on a bunch of charters that are gone unopened. Are you saying only the kids who would attend Explore deserve that seat? Only the kids from Uncommon deserve that seat? Only the kids deserve Success? They deserve a school. Open the schools. That's all I'm going to say. All right. Recently, there was a celebration for the 25th anniversary of the charter school movement. Your thoughts? So I have really no thoughts. I have really no thoughts. A lot of people who are affiliated with the movement left the movement and they came back to the movement. And now we're like, yeah, 25 years. And we are up each other's rear ends, hugging each other, patting each other on the back. And you're patting each other on your back for mediocrity. Why don't we talk about making schools better? Why don't we talk about things that matter? The charter school movement's here. It's been here 25 years. Who here thinks we are far better off now than we were 25 years ago? We have separated ourselves in a way that breaks my heart. We have CMOs that are failing. We have independent schools that are still leaning on COVID to why they can't teach kids. And maybe rather than celebrating our 25 years, people who have been involved in the movement should sit in a room and say, how do we fix this? Because we're becoming just like the traditional public school district that we were created to not be. I think it's great though. Any celebration is absolutely fantastic. I didn't go. I wasn't invited. I didn't know there was going to be one, but I saw it in the newspaper and I started laughing. Does everyone think we are doing so well that we should celebrate? If the answer is yes, like, you're paying attention to all the wrong stuff. Well, it was lovely seeing you. Have a good rest of your week.